Not topics. You know how we do certain topics every week. With
Right.
this, it would be more like, you know, y'all just
Shit, busting it up.
sitting around busting it up, doing interviews,
Right.
doing
Well, I
interviews
said,
and everything like that. You know what I
but
mean?
well, I mean, but with that being said, though, I guess really, even in this day and age, reality show works. So I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that formula has been done before. So
And if it don't work, you know what I mean? It don't
right,
work. You know what I'm saying?
right, cancel it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Pat,
Hey,
what's
what's up,
up?
Pat? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Real Brothers for the Real World. I'm TL, and that's my man Stace.
Yo,
Welcome to our digital neighborhood. We got some topics on point for y'all tonight. And Black, give us what we're gonna be talking about tonight.
okay, we'll do. That's right, y'all. Welcome to the Real Brothers of the Real World. This is our weekly podcast. Once again, coming to you live. Actually, my man TL is in the other room. He's not in North Carolina right now. He happened to come to Philly and joining us in doing today's episode. Happy Easter to everybody, also, or whatever recognition that you do for this holiday season. All right, we got four topics. We're gonna roll them out, and as is customary, we invite you to click on the link to join us in any of these conversations. All right. So the first one we have. Hey, Knight, can you lower your volume down just a little bit? I think I hear it in the joint. We have the importance of activism. We have New York mass shooting. We have gun violence, and we have Patrick Lyoyo. That's the
What'd you say?
Lyoyo.
Oh,
Lyoyo.
okay. Yeah.
He's the one that got shot in the that got
That's
basically
crazy. Yeah.
hunted by the police officer. Right.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Yeah, that's crazy.
that is crazy. All right, but okay. But let me ask you this, Knight. Well, first of all, do you have a random?
Uh, no, I don't have random. I thought you said you had one tonight.
I do. I
All
do.
right.
All right. Last night, as I said, TL happens to be in Philly, so we got together last night. Terrell, his son came. Terrell's homie was there. One of our homies from Strawberry Mansion was there. My man Phil was there, and I just want to say, man, the conversation that we had, um, it really further displays the why it's important for men to sit down and talk. We had our informal conversation, but we also had real conversations. We talked about some real stuff, man, and I thought about that this morning. It was real. We talked about the things we go through. We talked about health. Um, we talked about we talked about fears to a certain extent, and
Mm-hmm.
again, like it just further echoed, man, how we need to try to go out of our way to make opportunities for us to sit back and just talk as men,
Right. And
as
shout out
men.
to my man North Phil. He was with us
Yeah,
last night. Yeah, yeah. So
you know,
and and my sons, I was hanging out with my sons this weekend. Yo, man, I'm in heaven right now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, man, but we definitely need to do that. And I notice now, unfortunately, I wonder if it's because we're older now, or maybe it's in today's society is needed more than before, which is probably not the case. It was probably always needed, but I'm just seeing that we need to do that. We need to take every opportunity that we can to just sit down and talk, man. Because
Right. Had conversations, man. Like
conversation,
conversations breed solutions. You know what I'm
correct,
saying? Like that's what us as black men, we need to get together more.
right.
And do that. You know what I'm saying?
Because one of the things that we wound up saying yesterday is talking about how sometimes it's a matter of realizing that you're not alone. You're not the only one going through stuff. We all go through stuff. We all sat there and talked about that last night. And like I said, man, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So we men out here that are listening, take every opportunity that you can to just have general conversation with people that are around you. Because it's cathartic. It's
Mm-hmm.
cathartic. So that's my random. So, Knight, you ready to hit these topics, man?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you want me to run through them again, or do you have an idea of where you want to go?
Well, one thing, and this is a good segue into this topic. Let's hit the importance of activism.
Hmm. Okay.
You know
So,
what I mean?
okay. So, well, first of all, Knight, when we decided to do this topic, why did we decide to do it? What we discussing when we talked about the importance of activism?
Well, all of our topics tonight seem to be a little bit related.
Hmm.
Um, because of there's been a few, well, more than a few shootings.
Hmm.
A lot of gun violence, especially here
Hmm.
in Philly.
Right.
Um, they got the death of Patrick Lyoyo.
Right.
Uh, he got shot in the back of the head while he was laying on the ground
Running.
by a cop. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like the reason we had the importance of activism is because we're getting to the point where if we don't have change soon, uh, things are really going to get bad for Black people in this country.
Hmm.
And well, things are already bad for
You're
Black
right.
people in
Get
this country,
worse.
but
Things gonna get
if
worse.
it gets worse, if it gets too much worse,
Hmm.
there's going to be, I don't
Where are
know.
we
I don't know
headed?
if it'll
Right.
be an uprising or if it'll be like I just don't know. But it's
Right.
really getting to the point where we need activism. We need
Absolutely.
activism because we need change, right?
Mm.
Um, the thing that gets me about our situations, right, is okay. So there was a gap between George Floyd. Who was the last victim of a police shooting? Oh no, it was the what was it? Uh, the lady that shot the guys reaching for the taser, right?
Oh, yeah, in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is what I'm saying is that can't be the only time that we get out marching
Mm.
and protesting and you know getting angry and starting to talk about what's going on. We have to
Mhm.
be vigilant. Like
All the time.
we can't wait until there's another shooting, or we
Mm.
can't wait until there's another some injustice or whatever. We have to. This is something that has to be done
All going. That's
even
right.
on a norm. Like
That's
you know what
right.
I mean. So we need to make sure that our people communicate and unite. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because nobody's coming to save us.
Right.
I know today is Easter, and a lot
Right.
of people think Jesus is going to come back and help
Hmm.
us out,
Hmm.
but that ain't happening.
Right.
It's not
Right.
happening.
Well, I
That's
mean,
not the
I
way it's
think
working.
like you said though, man. We have to be vigilant. We can't let our guard down.
Right.
I think that, and I know we last night started talking about it. It veered into politics, and that's a part of activism also.
Right.
You have to make sure that people that you're supporting and putting in the office are looking out for your best interest, man. Because like you said, you can't rest. And I
Right.
think too often, um, we sometimes get lulled to sleep thinking that we're there and that we've made it and that
Right.
we no longer have to be involved. But no, activism, activism could never stop.
Right.
And that's why I said one time before, our form of government, democracy should be a verb because it never ends. You have to stay vigilant,
Right.
and it's the yin and the yang. You make progress where you have people out there that don't like the progress that you're making and thinking that you're taking something from them. So they attempt to pass laws to roll things back.
Right.
And we can't afford to let that happen.
And see,
We
that's
can't
another
afford it.
thing why we have to stay vigilant with our activism.
Mm.
Because the people that are in politics sometimes don't have our best interests,
That's right.
you know, in their agenda, right?
Right.
Um, we you remember we were talking last night. It's like the Bloods and the Crips, right?
Right.
You got you know, people on the Republican side that are worse politicians than the
Right.
people on the Democratic side, in my opinion.
Right.
But it's just that they are the lesser of two evils. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
still one system. You get what I'm saying? It's still
Yeah.
only one government system,
Right.
and that system is, excuse my term, but that system is fucked.
Mm.
You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because
Well, but the system is made up of people. So if the people are screwed up, then those people are doing screwed up things. But I mean, what if I ran for office though? You know what I mean? Then you wouldn't be, you would in theory you would think that I have your best interest at heart. So now you would be
right. But then
acting
when you get into office
right.
and those lobbyists start throwing millions of dollars in your lap, you're gonna be like, well,
Well,
I ain't gonna get them
well,
reparations, but I'll give them I'll give them
a
okay
stimulus check. I mean,
yeah,
it
I'll give them
happens.
a
You're right,
stimulus
Knight.
check, or I'll give them you know
It does happen.
I'll legalize marijuana for them. You get
Night,
what
you
I'm
know what
saying?
though?
Like
But it does have it. But well, first of all, again, you're talking about humans, and humans have flaws. You know, humans have desires and have agendas. They have things that they want. Also, and that's when you run into problems. But again, like you said, I mean, maybe in a democracy, more times than not, you are voting for the lesser of two evils. But the fact still remains, you have to be involved, you have to be vigilant,
right,
you have
right.
to be active. And again, going back to the topic, activism, you have to
You have
participate
to be. You
because if
have
not,
to.
you get rolled over.
You get
You
rolled
know,
over.
you
Right.
get rolled over,
You have
and
to.
and
Right.
and then, like they say, if you're not at the table, you're on it.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
happens, man. But uh, uh, you know, we have to do something, because
If
right
you're not
now,
eating, you're being served up, right? You know
correct,
what I mean?
correct,
So you have to make sure that that you're not on the
correct.
menu. You know what I
And
mean? And
then,
the
and
only
then,
way
as
to do
far as
that,
dealing with flawed humans, like someone said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We can't hold out for the perfect candidate because that's
no,
never going to
no, we
happen.
can't. But it's not even the fact that it's the candidate. What it is the system that the candidate is in, right? So just like when we had Ellie Mistal on talking about the
Hmm.
Constitution, right,
Hmm.
in this country,
Hmm.
people have to realize that Constitution wasn't written for Black people.
Hmm.
You get what I mean? That Constitution was written by slave owners and colonists for other slave owners and colonists. You get what I
Hmm.
mean? They didn't
Right.
come to they didn't come to any Black person and say, "Yo, do you think this is a good idea for everybody to have equality or freedom?"
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
didn't. As a matter of fact, they did just the opposite. They had to compromise just to make us 3/5 of a person.
Hmm.
And
Right.
if you think also, that is still like in this day and age, this is 2022, and that same article is still in the Constitution. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so there hasn't been any movement
Well,
in that.
I mean, no, and even when Ellie was on, and I think that was a good discussion because, now we can all go, talk about if things are moving as quickly as they should, but I don't think anyone would say that there's no movement,
No, I'm
and
talking about as far as the Constitution is concerned.
well, yeah, they are. They even with that though, because as you mentioned before, when the Constitution was written, we couldn't vote. We weren't considered humans. And we can vote, and there are amendments that have happened that have benefited us. So there has been movement, Now, again, as I've always said, though, that doesn't say that we don't have a long way to go to full equality, but we're moving forward. You know, we're moving forward slowly,
Very slowly.
very slowly, very,
Very slowly.
very slowly. Now, and you know what though, Nike, and remember though, I said that then that I don't think I think that's the beauty of the way the our form of government is set up, that it doesn't move too fast. I don't think it should move. It should happen overnight, because then the same way, as we know, Terry.
So you
Let me finish this. As we know, there's certain things that we want to see happen now. Say it again.
lower your voice a little bit.
There's some things that we want to see happen now,
Mm-hmm.
which are positive. But now you might have some idiot that get in there that wants something negative, and they want that to happen now. So the country is supposed to move slowly. You know what I mean? And
Not 400 years slowly, Stace. I mean, if you were saying slowly, like it'll take 10 years or 5 years, that's
Right.
slowly.
But
You understand what I'm saying?
look
Like,
look at the
slowly.
progress that we made in the last 40 years, though. I mean, look at where we've come since from the 60s and stuff. That might be a little more than 40 years.
Yeah. What have we done since the 60s?
Whoa. What do you mean? We haven't made any progress.
We've come far. We come a long way since the 60s.
You wouldn't think so?
After the Civil Rights Bill, what major legislation have they passed for equal rights, equality, equity?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a tough one. But I will say this though.
We're living in a second Jim Crow right now.
What do you mean by that?
We are living under Jim Crow right now. The Jim Crow laws of the 70s.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean when you say with the current Jim Crow? Elaborate on that. What do you mean?
All right, so you know how they do redlining,
right,
and all the other things that that keep us down.
Okay.
They will not keep us down, but make it harder for us to
move ahead,
be equal, to move ahead, right?
Okay.
So the thing is, they may not call it redlining anymore, but there's still laws on the books that do the same thing. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have a way of manipulating the system. Like they're not. Anytime the government does something, they're not doing it for the benefit of Black people.
Now I don't know if I agree with that though. I don't agree with that. I think there's something.
Name something.
Well, I mean, look at what you've been talking about. Okay, I'm gonna give you this one. You've been talking about the law is about the anti-lynching bill. Has that passed?
Yeah.
Okay. Did that benefit Black people?
It did.
Okay. Well, then there's one.
Yeah.
You said give you one.
It took 200. Well, listen,
yeah, but you changed the conversation.
Before you interrupt me.
Okay.
No. Before you interrupt me, let me finish.
Okay.
It took 200 tries to pass a bill that says you can't hang a Black man from a tree. You can't kill a Black man just because of the color of his skin, just because you don't like him. So if it takes 200 tries to do something as simple, straightforward, like that's not even really
shouldn't be controversial, right?
That policy shouldn't even have to be written.
Right.
Right.
But then I got a question for you.
Right.
But is that progress?
If you want to call it progress.
So you would say it's not. So if that's the case, you said they shouldn't have passed it then, right? So you're saying it shouldn't have been passed. If it's not progress, then
I don't
no, I'm asking you a question. Are you saying that it shouldn't have? If I asked you, is that progress? You said if you want to call it that. So I'm asking you directly, do you call that progress?
Not really, no.
So you said they shouldn't have passed it because it's not progress. It made no difference at all.
I didn't say they shouldn't have. I didn't say
so either they should have or they shouldn't.
They should have passed it on the first attempt.
Okay, but they didn't. They passed it a month ago. Or are you saying that? But you're saying that's not progress. So why pass it, right? If it has no effect at all, well then why do you keep saying? But months ago, last year, why do you keep yelling and screaming saying they didn't pass it? They didn't pass it. Now
because they hadn't passed it.
They didn't. But what I'm saying is now they passed it. Now you're saying, oh, that's not progress. I mean,
all right, that's progress. We right where we need to be.
No, I'm not saying that either, though. I agree with that. I'm not saying that. No, again, my only point, though, Tay, as I've always said, though, I agree with.
I tell you, I'll give you an analogy like this.
Hmm.
It's a crumb from a loaf of bread.
Okay, I can even run with that. I'm okay with that. But you
You
know what,
can't
though?
you can't get full off a crumb.
But listen to this, though. When you have nothing, and somebody gives you a crumb, are you going to say no? Or no?
No,
Let me
you're not gonna
rephrase that.
say
Listen,
no,
you're going to
but
take it, right?
you're gonna sit there and be like, yo, bro, you got this whole loaf of bread. I'm sitting here starving, and you're gonna give me a crumb.
Then you're going to fight to get more, right? You're gonna fight to get more. You're gonna say, I need
Yeah,
more, I want more.
yeah.
But you're gonna take that crumb because listen to this though, because the loaf is built one crumb at a time, though,
So
right?
you
Now
satisfied with
that
crumbs?
was a question. No,
Are
listen.
you satisfied? No, I got a
Yes.
question for you. Are you
Okay.
satisfied with crumbs?
Yes, and this is why.
I'm not.
Because
I'm not.
listen. But do you agree that the loaf is built one crumb at a time? Do you agree with that?
No, the loaf is not built one crumb at a time.
So you just end up with a loaf. Like that makes
Yeah,
no sense.
you put dough
Come
a
on,
ball
Tay.
of dough
Tay.
in the wait
Nah,
now.
you reaching.
You put a whole ball of dough in the oven at the same time, and it bakes a loaf.
And
So for
that
you to
loaf
give me
is made of
let me
crumbs.
finish. So for you to pinch off a little crumb from me and you got a whole loaf of bread sitting here, no, I'm not satisfied with that
But a
because
million pinches.
I
But
can't live
listen,
off of a crumb.
but
I'm
that
not
loaf is made
satisfied
out
off
of
of
a
a
million
crumb.
pinches, though, right? That loaf is made off or made out of a million pinches, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to start
So you
somewhere.
satisfied with having one
I,
crumb
I
while
no,
they
I didn't
have
say satisfied.
999,000 that while they
No,
have 999,000 crumbs. You get what
no,
I'm saying? That
no,
don't
no,
make
no.
sense,
I
Sticks.
do, I do. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I think we disagree on, I guess, the speed. The speed of it. I say, as we keep going, coming back to this, that I understand that progress takes time, and I'm okay. No,
You
no, no,
okay with the
no, no,
400
no, no,
years
no,
we've
no,
been
no,
waiting?
no, no. Saying I'm okay was the wrong way. I didn't mean to say it that way. That's the wrong way to say it. Not that I'm okay, but I understand that progress like this takes time. So I get it.
Right.
Versus saying that, everything has to happen overnight. That's not going to happen at all. It's not.
No, I never said everything has to happen overnight. And my only point is it hasn't been overnight. It's been
Mm,
a long,
it's been a lot of nights.
long, it's been a
Right.
long journey. It's been a
Mm,
long struggle. And we're
mm.
still not where we need to be because we
Agreed.
keep doing the same things over and over and over and over
I
and
agree. We're
over.
not where we're supposed to
And
be.
we expect different results. That's the part that blows my mind. Like we do the same things over and over and over, and then we expect that. Oh well, why are we still where
See,
we
I mean,
are?
but even
Like
see
I don't
again though, Knight.
understand that.
See, but again, the premise of what you're saying is where I differ because you're right. We do things, we do some things over and over. We repeat certain things, but like we just talked about with the anti-lynching bill, sometimes we get a victory.
Sometimes they throw you a bone, and you okay. I'm good with that.
No,
Nah,
I didn't say
that
I'm good
nah.
with it. I
You
didn't say
did
I'm
say
good
you
with it.
good with it. You did say
Well,
you
I
said
said
I'm good with a
no,
crumb.
no, no.
You
I
said I'm
said
good
that
with a crumb.
I said that was a wrong way of saying it. Not that I'm good with it, but I realize we have a long way to go. But I do understand that progress takes time. And
It
I
does take
understand
time.
that
It
progress
does
takes
take
time.
time.
You know.
Mhm.
All right, you ready to hit this next one, man?
Yeah. What's the next one? You pick the next one. Where we
All
going
right,
now?
all right. We got New York mass shooting. We got gun violence,
Hmm.
and then we have Patrick Lyoyo. You know what? Let's talk about the New York mass shooting, man. No, let's talk
Okay.
about gun violence. Let's talk about gun violence.
Well,
Uh,
they related,
they are
So
related. They
yeah.
are
Okay.
related.
We can merge
Um,
them into yeah.
the reason why I said that one though is because that part kind of branched off from what we were discussing last night, and part of it, you know, part of the discussion last night, it was heartening that we were having the discussion, but it was disheartening because to hear from some of our brothers that might be a little closer to it, even your sons, man, talking about how things are though, man. Talking about a 12-year-old kid. with guns and all that other kind of stuff. And then we even branched off and start talking about solutions. I have an 11-year-old son. So, and I told you on the way home, every time we talked about these young kids with guns, I pictured my son in that instance, because that is my son.
Right,
That part right there was, and as I said last night, this whole gun violence thing, man, there's not one solution. It's gonna take a number of things to pull this thing back, but we have to do something. We have to do something. And it's funny, like, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna listen. Having this conversation with someone, actually, I think they might have been talking about it on Facebook. Like they say, there's nothing new under the sun. When we find ourselves back where we were in the 90s, when they passed the 3 strikes and you're out law, that was Clinton. It was because things were crazy. Violence was running rampant, and people were getting hit by stray bullets. And then the people in the middle that were being caught in the crossfire started saying, look, you have to do something because this is not sustainable. So they said, okay, you know what? If the third crime, whatever, regardless of what it is, you're getting sent up. And we're right back here now. Because you hear people saying the same thing. Okay, you know what? Lock them up.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's their solution for everything, right? Because it's slave labor, right? So these young kids, they're in a system. They flood our neighborhoods with guns and drugs, right? These young kids on these pills, I don't know nobody that manufactures pills. Like, I know, it'd be different if these kids was on a drug like something that we could create. But I don't, these pharmaceutical companies are the ones who put these drugs in our neighborhoods, right? They pay the doctors. They pay the doctors to prescribe all these drugs to our people, and then they flood our gun. So they get them hooked on drugs, and then they flood our neighborhoods with guns, right?
Right.
So then the kids are going crazy because, all right,
they
this
high.
is what we talked about last night. So it's deeper than just, all right, they started on the pills, they got the guns, and everything is going crazy. This has been happening since the 80s. Since the 80s. All right.
As far as gun violence,
Remember when they flooded our neighborhoods with crack, cocaine, and all that, right?
Right.
So you remember the little shorties that was out in the street, and you'd be like, "Shorty, get out the street, man! Come on, man! Like, or go down the block. You trying to get them away from, the thing, right? So then, their parents is on crack. They out here in the street raising themselves. So them same little kids from the 80s that was raising themselves in the street,
had kids.
Yeah, they got kids.
That's right.
And they ain't raising their kids because nobody raised them.
True, nice.
So
True.
It's a cycle. And now we're 3 generations in, and you got kids that's 11, 12 years old shooting at each other.
That's right.
Or just shooting. And that's the reason why, too, these shootings, they just shooting because they don't know really what they're doing. They kids. So they just out here busting, thinking they doing something. And they killing innocent people because they don't even know how to use the gun.
Right.
I mean, they know how to use it, but you know what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
They're not experienced in combat or shooting.
Now let me say this also. When you said that's their response to everything, actually the people that were talking about that, it wasn't they, it was us. This was talking about lock them up. This wasn't their response. This was our response. These were black folk that were saying that. And what do you mean? It was black folk talking about locking them up.
Who was saying they should lock them up?
Black folk. Because you said that's their solution to everything. And I'm saying it wasn't it was us.
That is the system's solution to everything. Because
when you say the system of black folk, you talking about black folk.
No. I'm talking about the prison industrial complex.
No, well, you see, no, I'm talking about black people saying they're tired of this violence, start locking more people up. I'm not talking about the industrial, the prison system or anything. Black folk that are fed up with the way things are now on Facebook saying these kids or who's ever doing the shooting need to be locked up. It wasn't the system. These are people that we
Right. But
know.
what I'm saying, well, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, there's a reason that we got to this point.
Mm,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
And the reason is because of the prison industrial complex. You get what I'm saying? So the thing is, if they don't have any, like a lot of these corporations
mm,
use the prison system to make their goods for pennies on the dollar,
mm.
right? That's why
Right.
they building all these prisons with all these shops in it, and
Mm,
you know, textiles and all of
mm.
this stuff. That is the reason, because they can charge pennies on the dollar for
Right,
labor
right, right.
that they're
It's
getting
modern day
from these
slavery.
young
Right.
people. Right. That's what it is. So
Yeah.
they're not going to stop that. So they're not going to change that system,
Mm,
right? Because they make too much money from it.
mm,
You get what
hmm.
I mean? Because
Yeah.
think about this. Think about this. It takes a certain amount of money to house a prisoner, right?
Sure.
You got
Yeah.
to feed them. You got to
Hmm.
give them a place to stay. You got to have utilities for them. You got to give them things to do.
Got to give them
But
cable.
you got to give them right. But you know how they get around that. I mean, do you
Because they're
know how
producing
they?
something. Yeah.
Because
Because they're producing something. They're
they're
selling
producing
product.
something, right?
Right.
So that's what I mean. Like there's nuances to to
Hmm.
to every situation. So I
Absolutely.
understand that black people are mad because these
Absolutely.
kids are
Because
going
we're the
wild.
victims. We're the
We're
victims.
the victims, right?
Right.
But we're the victims not just from the kids. We're
Mm.
also the victims of the system.
Absolutely.
You
Right.
understand? Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's where
Now
that
let
comes
me
from.
ask you this, Knight, because remember last night, one of the things that they started talking about was how some people, and I get it. What are your thoughts on this though? How remember we started talking about how they're in prison, they're they got cable, they have video games, they got iPads. I understand, and then we started talking about how some people, inmates, maybe on their way out, saying, "Listen, I don't have too much out there. I do better staying in. Give me my whole
Right.
thing
They want
because
to
of the
make it
comfort."
comfortable. They want
Right.
to make it comfortable for people in the system because they want you to come back.
So is that
It's
part of the
like it's like
problem though?
club fed. You know what I
Should we
mean?
make it? Should we make it? Should the goal then be to make it uncomfortable? What do you think? Should I mean
Uh,
should
that's a
should they
tough.
have
That's a tough
iPads?
question. That's a
Yeah,
tough
should they have
question.
iPads? Should they have? And I'm going to the extreme, but I'm doing it for a reason. Should they be sleeping on bricks so that they'll say, "Yo, I don't want to come back here"? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, what are your thoughts on that, man?
It's a hard situation because you can't take humanity away from
Mm,
you can't take humanity away from a person, right?
right.
Just because they committed a crime. You know what I mean?
I mean, but does humanity include an iPad? Does humanity include
That's
uh,
where we are.
cable TV?
That's where we are in the society. You know what I mean? That's the way this society functions now. You have to
No, you
have
don't have to have it. You don't have to have an iPad.
you
You don't
don't
have
have
to.
to have it.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
You don't have to have it.
Right, right.
But like I
What
said,
about
they want to
cats?
make it as comfortable as possible. So you don't mind
I
going
mean,
back
but
to
think,
prison.
well, but listen to this though. Let's extrapolate on what you said though. You said the prison and industrial complex needs prisoners so that they can produce product, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So then we
Absolutely.
should be saying, and you just said that they want to make it comfortable so they can keep these inmates coming back, right?
Right.
So in other words, so we should be out here saying make it uncomfortable so they won't want to go back, right? Shouldn't we be fighting then saying make it as uncomfortable as possible? I mean, if they're trying to make it
You can't
comfortable,
say that across the board. You know why you can't say that across the board? because there's a lot of people that are in jail for bullshit, right?
Now that's different though. Now I agree with that.
That's
I
not
agree.
different.
I agree.
That's not different. So you can't make it where it's unlivable conditions, and then you got okay. I see that you have people in there for murder. You got
Right.
people in there for violence and all of that. But you
Right.
also have people that are in jail for stealing food. You
Right.
also
True.
have people that are
True.
in jail for stealing clothes, or
Right.
you have people that are in there who wrote a bad check.
But
Or
wait a
you
minute.
have
But those aren't the ones saying. But those aren't the. I guess this is the question. Are they the ones though saying, the one that's, and I'm kind of thinking out loud, that's stealing food? They're the ones that first chance to get out. They want to get out because they truly did something
that's
like.
not true. Think about this, Stace. If you are unfortunate enough to have to go into a store and risk
Stealing
getting
food.
locked up to
True.
steal
True.
food, your
True.
situation out on the street ain't that good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
in
Okay.
jail, you got 3 meals a day, and
Yeah.
and
Right.
you know what I mean. There's a lot
Right.
of people out on the street that ain't. It's not that they want to go out and do a lot of this stuff, but they just trying to survive.
So
You
in
get
other
what I'm
words,
saying?
so well, and I
Give
get
you
it
an
though, and
example.
I
Give
just
you an
asked that.
example. I did a lot of illegal stuff back when I was young
Right.
because I was trying to survive.
Mm.
You get what I mean? I had mouths to feed, so I couldn't be like I'm gonna just go, go to
Well,
do
no, for
whatever.
you it was a choice. It was a choice. You didn't have to. You didn't have to.
Says you, says you.
Yeah, true. I got it. I got it. But that your situation was a little different from the person that had mouths to feed. She doesn't have a job, can't for whatever reason, can't get a job. So now I got to go steal a loaf of bread. That wasn't
Right.
a lot of
So
situations.
I'm
That
fresh.
wasn't your situation.
I'm fresh out of high school, right? I'm putting in applications, but while I'm putting in these applications, I don't have no money coming in, and my son's sitting here need to eat. He need Pampers. He need to eat. He need clothes. He need this. He need that.
Yeah, but I get
Should I wait until I get an opportunity for somebody to call me for a job, or
I
do I
go
have to
take
do
it.
what I
Should I
got to,
just go to take
or
it?
do I got to? Hey, they lucky I wasn't out here, robbing and stealing or whatever.
Well, see, but
saying?
but we know that there is help out there for a person in that scenario that truly needs help. I mean, they have access to programs. They have food stamps. They have housing vouchers. They have medical. Right?
What if I didn't want to be in the system? What
Now,
if I
that's a little
didn't want to
different.
be on welfare?
See, okay, no. See, so you can't tell me and convince me that you got a kid over here behind you that need to eat, but you don't want to fill out a paperwork to get food stamp because you don't want to be on the system.
Oh no, I did. I had WIC. We had WIC, food stamps, all that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that's not enough. That's not enough to survive on. That's not enough to survive on. First of all, let me.
But you have people that
you haven't been in this. You haven't been in the system like I've been in the system. You can't survive on that little bit of money and food stamps that they give you. Then you trying to get yourself ahead, right? You can't get ahead just by being on food. And here's another thing. You know what we had to do in order to get food stamps? I couldn't be in the household.
Yeah, I'm talking about that. Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot to it. I agree with that.
There's a lot to it. It's not just so. If you wanted to say like violent offenders, murderers, they go to a certain prison where it's all it's prison. You know
right.
Where they won't want to go back. And
right.
Then you have
they don't want to sleep on the rocks.
Commit non-violent crimes, and then maybe their stay is a little bit different from what you call. You know what I'm saying? Like if I did
if you stole a loaf of bread, you get an iPad when you go in. But the one the
dumbass.
Is that Terrell? Is that Terrell? You steal bread, you go to jail and get an iPad. Whereas the violent offender sleep on bricks.
That's fucked up.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. There are nuances to it because then
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
think
So
about
like that's what
mental
I'm saying.
health issues. Right, it's not
Every
black and white.
peg, every round peg don't fit in the square hole
Right,
or
right,
some
right.
shit like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right, right. Yeah, I understand that. I get that. I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
All right, you ready to move on, man?
yeah, yeah.
Anybody make any comments? Nobody made any comments. Oh, wait a minute. The NBA playoffs are on, aren't they?
Yeah, ain't nobody looking at
Hey,
us.
Knight. No, hey, Knight.
No, I'm just
How,
bullshitting.
no,
I'm
Knight.
just
How
bullshitting.
somebody going to choose the NBA playoffs and the Sixers and
Over us.
over
Right,
real
yeah.
brothers? What is this world coming to? Yeah, nah, man, that's a bunch of bull
He
stuff.
like what the world coming
What the
to.
world
They
coming
chose
to?
basketball over
Yeah,
the
choose
NBA
basketball, the
over real
playoffs,
brothers.
and we got a dude that's got the scoring title, and we, got a real chance to go to the championship. They're going to choose that over
Over
the real
us.
brothers.
Yeah,
That's a
man.
bunch of
The
nonsense. Yeah.
nerve.
The nerve, right? Yeah, right. And as Terrell sits back there behind you watching the game,
Yeah.
Terrell not even listening to us. Boy, this is a bunch of nonsense.
He looking at me like, damn, I can't hear it,
I
dang.
mean, you too loud.
He like, you too loud. I
You
can't
too
hear
loud.
the
Yeah, he over there shushing you. All right.
game.
So we got last two night. We got the New York mass shooting
Yeah,
and Patrick Lyoyo. And I know I'm jacking that name up.
yeah.
Where you want to go,
Uh,
man?
let's go with my man Patrick.
Mm,
Patrick
mm.
Lyoyo.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
That
Did you see the
and
video?
I actually had an argument on Twitter with this guy because he said that why shouldn't he have gotten shot because he was
Damn.
struggling with the police, and I'm like,
Wow.
damn, like
Wow.
he killed this
Wow.
man. He killed this man over bad tags on his
Right.
car.
Right.
Come on,
Right.
man. Like
Right.
if
Right.
you believe that was justifiable, I was
Mm.
like, so, and I told the guy like, so you've never committed any kind of
Right.
crime
Right.
in your life. Let's say you ran a red light and you get
Mm.
pulled over.
Right.
The cop don't have a right to
To
execute
kill
a
you.
death
That's right.
sentence.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
For that.
That's right. I mean, and the issue that I had with it, I mean, the whole thing was a bunch of nonsense. And that dude, that police officer definitely needed to be kicked off the force and tried for murder because
Yeah.
the dude was running away. And unless your life is in danger, as we talked about with it last night, we kind of touched on it. It'd be
Right.
different if he had a gun in the bushes or he was getting in a car where he could possibly cause harm to someone else. If
Right.
that boy was running away, you got to let him go. You got to let him go.
Yeah. You got
You
his
can't
car.
force
You got
somebody.
his car. You got the passenger. You got the information on who this brother
That's right.
is.
That's right. You got to see him the next day.
You could have just put a warrant out for his
That's right.
arrest. Or
That's right.
you know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of different scenarios that could have played out other than shooting a man in the back of the head.
Now, let me ask you this, Knight. The boy that you were arguing with, now you probably didn't see him.
Nah,
So,
of course
okay,
not.
let's,
You know
okay.
how the internet is.
Right. Okay. But this is the issue all too often. It's a matter of perspective. If your perspective is the fact that police can do no wrong and that they're the final line in this system and they're right 100% of the time because you've never experienced anything otherwise, you'll respond like that.
Yeah, but the thing, yeah, go ahead. No,
I mean, their perspective is that the police officers are the knight in the white horse that's going to protect me at all cases. So what they say is right. They've never had an experience where they would have argued with a police officer or something or think that they could do anything wrong. So that's why they say that crap.
all right, let me explain what I saw from that video. First, I saw an immigrant, right? Boy, African guy. He's an immigrant. You know how the climate is in the United States already, right? You get stopped by the police. You could tell he was nervous because he empty jump out the car and like, what did I do? What's the he's scared. The same way people always talking about, oh, the
Cops are
officers
playing.
scared.
Right.
The cops are
Right.
scared.
Right.
If they're scared, they shouldn't have that job.
True.
Right.
True.
And another thing is like he was scared of getting tased.
And
you could see that from his reactions, right? He was trying not to get tased, right? So the best thing in that scenario would have been for that cop, you see how he was on his back? He should have let him go,
Right.
and then backed up. And if he wanted to tase him, he could have tased
You
him.
got him. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The officer became the aggressor.
Right. He rode his back the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yep. The officer became the aggressor.
The officer was the aggressor.
And you know what happened? What kills me though, Nike, and you see it happen every time. And they it's like they're being slick with it because you hear them yell the same thing.
Taser. They must teach that at the academy. So
they do because you know they yell that, and then it's almost like that becomes the green light
to do whatever they want to do.
To do whatever I need to do. Stop resisting. That's what they always yell. Stop resisting. Well, see, you were the aggressor, and now you telling this dude, like you said, this scared man to stop resisting. He's not resisting. He's trying to get away.
He's trying not to die.
He's trying not to die. Right. He's trying not to die.
I'm gonna tell you something else. When I was driving down here, I got stopped in Virginia.
You did?
Yeah, I got stopped. I thought I told you that last night.
No, you didn't tell me that.
I got stopped in Virginia coming down here, right?
Wow.
So I left at like 2 a.m.
Right.
So I'm on the road. It's just me and a few trucks out there.
Right.
I'm getting it. I'm listening to music. I'm running.
Right.
I'm the only one out there.
Right.
I see these lights in the background in the mirror. Like, man, let me pull over to the right lane and
slow down, right?
Slow down, right? And then he got up to me and he pulled over behind me.
Wow.
Like, damn, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Instantly. I ain't saying I was scared.
Yeah, but you're nervous, absolutely. And it was at night too? That's in Virginia?
And I'm in Virginia, and buttfuck whoever,
That's right.
Buttfuck Virginia.
Black, that's right. Black, that's right.
Black man.
Dark outside.
Being me, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, damn, it ain't nobody out here but me. You know what I'm saying? So this shit could go left. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I'm like this. I got my hands on the wheel. He comes over, and instantly, he got his hands hovering on his hip.
Wow.
You know what I mean? While he got the flashlight in one hand, got his hand in one hand.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, this nigga, he reaching for his gun already. And I ain't, you know what I mean? It's a traffic stop.
Right.
So he's like, is there any reason you was doing almost 90 miles an hour? I was like, no, I was just listening to music, and I'm the only one out here. So I was just driving. I wasn't really paying attention. You know what I mean? License and registration. I was like, all right,
I need to get it.
I need to get it.
Right.
It's over there in my glove.
That's right.
I mean, and it went like that because you're like, man, I don't want to spook
it could have went wrong. Right. Yeah. That's right.
You know, I'm trying not to spook this dude
because
you never know. What if he would have been one of them racist cops or something? You know what I mean? He could have bust me up.
Right.
And
said anything. Right.
Right. He
and
said
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
He could have said
I mean, and that goes to show you, though, like you said, though, Nike, it's a matter of perspective because you see videos where other folk, they're yelling at them, they're following them around, and something you said earlier, though, was right. They're taught that in the academy, the things that they need to say. But they don't use that on us. They don't use that. They use the bully tactic on us because they showed you, though, that they can de-escalate a situation.
If they want to.
Exactly. They choose not to do that when they're
They
dealing
choose
with
not to.
They choose not to.
Because there's a reason for that. The reason for that is they have no accountability.
Right.
One thing we have to do when we was talking about activism,
we
have to make sure that we have them get rid of qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity. Yeah, that's what Ellie talked about. Yeah, absolutely.
So and look, I'm how old am I, bro? 53. Yeah, 53. I'm 53 years old, right? And I'm sitting here, I'm scared, because this dude pulled me over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not scared to the point
that shouldn't be the
jump out and run.
That shouldn't be our experience.
I was still scared
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Because
We
man,
shouldn't. We
I ain't
shouldn't
no
have to
bitch
be.
ass, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but
That's a
what you
shame.
gonna do against a
Right,
cop? They
right,
got
right.
the
They got the
badge,
law. They got the
they
government
got the
behind them.
gun, they
That's
got
right.
backup, they got the law behind them, they got the whole shit behind them.
Yeah.
So, they can basically
Do
they can
anything. Right.
basically proceed however they
That's
feel
right.
like proceeding.
And
And
our experience with the police shouldn't be that of fear. We
right.
shouldn't be. We shouldn't be
Especially when we
afraid
haven't done
with every.
anything with
Right,
with a
right. I mean, well,
traffic
even if we
violation.
have though, not for speeding, I shouldn't be afraid for you to approach my car and ask me for my documentation because I was speeding. If
Right.
I didn't do anything violent. I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't have to fear that. I shouldn't
You
have to
shouldn't have
fear
to
that
fear for
infraction.
your life
Correct.
for a traffic stop.
What's
That
that?
brother shouldn't have been killed because
Correct.
he had bad tags
Correct.
or
Correct.
stolen tags or
Correct.
whatever his tags
Running
was.
away.
They
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's frustrating because listen, the reason that is so frustrating, not only because the brother lost his life, right? But it keeps happening
Mm-hmm.
over and over and
Yeah.
over. And then we keep marching and protesting and
Mm-hmm.
marching and protesting. It's almost to the point where you kind of lose faith, or you
See,
kind of
well,
lose
but I'll
you
say
kind
this
of
though, Nike. I'll say this though. As we talk about progress, there have been instances like the one with the fellow that was jogging, Ablu, what I'm talking about, and he was
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmad, correct, and he was
Right.
lynched by those three white guys, and they were found guilty by an all white jury.
Right.
And then the one in even George Brown. In that case, those police officers, are in jail. So I mean, again, I think that the light is being shined on this issue, and we it's moving forward. Now,
Do you remember a man called Rodney King?
yeah, of course.
How long ago was that?
That was the what, 90s? Was that the 90s?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Things have been going states.
Absolutely. Right.
It comes to a point where incremental change or like crumbs ain't enough, man.
Yeah.
We losing too many of our people because they giving us crumbs.
I think now I'm gonna say this, and I will be truly disappointed. Now, actually, no, let me go a little further. I'd be hurt if this cop gets off. That would hurt. That would hurt. So
I'll tell you something else. We shouldn't have to be like, maybe he's gonna get off.
Right.
Maybe he ain't.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think that last one. I wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't.
None of us were
confident that was gonna go.
None of us were.
You know what I mean?
Right. Not confident. I mean, we were all hoping.
And you shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to be that way.
Right.
Like if a thing is wrong,
right.
It's wrong.
Weigh the evidence and make a decision.
Right.
Based on the evidence.
And I'm not asking for nobody to do nothing extra. Well, I'm not asking. Just treat me the way you would treat me if I had blonde hair, blue eyes, or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, so again though, the last two large cases, it went better. It went better. They lost their job. The last two they got locked up. So let's see what happens with this one. Like I said, again, I wouldn't get my hopes up though, and I think that's what you're kind of alluding to.
Yeah, I'm
that we should be able to say it's a cut and dry case. But now listen to this though. Remember, one of the things that Ellie
Mistel?
Ellie, yes. One of the things he said is that they need to get rid of that the instance where it's reasonable.
If another cop would have did it.
Right, correct.
Like, what the hell kind of law is that?
Right.
So if this racist cop killed me,
if another
racist cop would have killed me, then
correct.
Well, he would probably.
Of course, they're gonna step up for their brothers.
Right, that don't make sense at all.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I agree with that. Now that right there though made a lot of sense. That they need to change the measure. They need to change
Right.
the measure. Don't make it in terms of what would another police officers do. They should, like he said, base it on the evidence. Okay, if he got shot in the back and he wasn't a danger to the police officer or anyone else, that should be cut and dry.
Yeah.
You didn't have to murder that man.
Right.
You didn't have to
Exactly.
murder that man. He wasn't a danger.
Right. And
You would
cops shouldn't be allowed to impose death sentences
correct,
on people.
correct,
You know what I
correct,
mean? That
correct.
I mean, come on, like
Right. That should be easy. I agree. That should be easy. All right, we got one more night.
all right.
We got
The New
we
York
got
mass shooting.
yes, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Now I remember when we had the
I forget
conversation.
what the guy's name is.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name was either.
But there was
And actually,
for people that don't know, there was a shooting on the New York subway system.
right,
Where a man walked on there and shot up a bunch of people, and then he got on another train and rode.
right, right.
But
They got
I
him.
mean, it ain't funny, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Now no one died though. I mean, thank God,
But
man.
still, he shot
No
up the
one died.
train.
Oh no,
and
I'm not belittling it. I'm just
Right.
saying, thank God that no one died.
And here's a twist on that, and people may have realized that and may not, but I'm gonna bring it out there. On Fox News, they said that the FBI was investigating that as a domestic terrorist.
It should be.
Crime.
It should be. That is. But the definition, the definition of why would Shice be calling us while we on the joint? Shice, we doing yeah, we still on that. I guess you don't listen to the show. He don't even know when we get off.
Some real brother he is.
Some real brother you are. You don't even know when we get off the joint, Shice.
Come on, big bro.
You mean tell me you don't know we get off at 9? And we've been doing this for a year. You used to be on this show. Boy, I tell you.
Come on, big bro. Goddamn. But on Fox News, the FBI.
I agree with that, though.
As a
form of terrorism, as it should be. When you let me say this: when you do an act, and I'll say mass shooting, not terrorism. You're not trying to terrorize anyone, but it should be deemed and handled as a mass shooting.
But it wasn't. When other people commit crimes like that, like the Las Vegas shooter,
right,
or the guy that shot up the club in Florida,
right,
all these other the mass shooting of the schools, the mass shootings of the church. That's what they call it, mass shooting.
Mass shootings, right?
When it's done by a white person. This so happened to have been done by a black person, and now all of a sudden it's domestic terrorism.
Yeah, now the difference was
you get the nuance that
yeah. Now, I don't understand how they're doing that, because normally they say if you're going to deem it terrorism, it's when you're trying to persuade or create an outcome, meaning you're trying to scare people
now,
to make them think
it was a mass shooting, and it was wrong.
Correct.
You know, it was fucked up. But my only thing is, like, I pay attention to different, like, little stuff like that, because those look like the devil is in the details. You get what I'm saying? And little things. You got to pay attention to the little things. You know what I mean? Because little things turn into big things. You get what I mean? So you have to pay attention on how things are categorized and in comparison to other events. You get what I mean?
Right. Okay, now this is the definition of terrorism. Terrorism is defined as a code in the Code of Federal Regulations as the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, civilian population, or segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. Right. So I don't know how they're going to say if it was terrorism if he wasn't trying to persuade people or a government agency to doing anything. So,
but just like the other shootings, right? Just like the other shootings.
I would say that yeah, you're right. Unless maybe, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know how they're doing terrorism.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't condone the shooting. I don't
Right,
want people
right.
because
Right.
damn, he said it's cool to. No,
No,
I
no.
don't condone the shooting.
Right,
It
right.
was a
And
bad,
they need to throw the book at them.
Right. He needs
As
to
they
go
would
away
anybody
forever,
else.
whatever.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, my only thing that I want,
Fairness.
I just want fairness, right? I just want you to treat
law
us
colorblind, right? The law's supposed to be colorblind.
It should be one law for
Correct.
everybody.
Correct.
And that law should be applied the same for everybody.
Equally. Agreed.
That's what equality is all about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what equity is about. Everybody should have the same experience, the same, like we always talk about. We're Black Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a reason. They call us African American for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
They call us that because there's a distinction. There's a distinction between an American and an African American.
Wait a minute, you think that's why they call us African Americans? They call us African Americans because our ancestors are from Africa, I thought. No?
Africa is a continent.
Okay, right. Okay.
Right.
And the same way Italian is a country, so but again, they call us African Americans because our ancestors are from the continent of Africa, right?
Right. Hey, look. Hey, Pat. I know you listening, Pat. And when your nationality is an American, correct?
Wait a minute, wait.
Or is your nationality a Irish American? When somebody asks you your nationality, and I know Pat. He says I'm an American, right?
Not if you ask him his nationality. If you ask him where his country or what is his citizenship.
No.
If you ask a person their nationality or their heritage, they're gonna be a little more.
Oh, I'm all wrong anyway. He said his family come from Germany. My bad.
We trying to say they all looking like. Hey, Nike. You trying to say he look like he's Irish?
Patrick O'Leary out this joint. My bad,
Hey, Nike, man. You trying to say they all looking like?
See, he said yes. I identify as an American.
Right, but again, but he said though his nationality, he's from Germany.
I didn't say what your nationality was. I said, what do you identify as in this country? An American. You don't see, like you got lost on this same thing the last time we talked about it.
I got lost. No, I might have just agreed with you.
Like American.
No.
American?
I may have disagreed with you, but I didn't get lost.
Let me put it up here. Yes.
What do you say?
I identify as an American.
Right.
What do you identify as, Stace?
An American. I identify as an American, Knight. Now, if you ask me, if you ask me, be more specific, I'm an African American. Yeah.
To be more specific, come on, bro.
If you start it with basically, if you asking me for my heritage, I'm an African American.
Application, you say I'm an African American, right?
Absolutely right. Yes.
Right.
Well, you know what? Okay, but you know what, though, Knight? Okay, let me go back though. Well, if you ask me what I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that. But listen to this though. That's the way that we identify ourselves. Remember when we talked about that last week? I said we, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that that's good that we say. Let me finish. I said that I think that it's good that, and I'm okay with people using those surtitles, whatever the term is. You're right. I do identify as an African American because that's the way that I see myself.
And that's the way I identify as an African American. And if I'm going to continue to be an African American, I'm going to need my own African America. You get what I'm saying? If I'm here in America, why can't I be an American? Why can't I be just?
You can be, but if you want to call yourself an, well, then what would I tell you? This is the result. Then this is the answer. Listen to this. This is the answer. I got a solution for you, Knight. When I ask you, how do you identify yourself? Just say American. How do you identify yourself, Knight?
But I'm not going.
See, you're not answering my question. If you choose to identify yourself as an African American, that is your choice. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was your question?
Dumbass. I just asked you, boy. That's that strawberry mash. Hey, like, man, Miss Holiday gonna be so disappointed.
I identify as an African American because that's what this country identifies me as, right? Before we were, the only reason that we identify as African American is because we got tired of people calling us colored, or we got tired of people calling us Negro. So we didn't like the terms colored and we didn't like the terms Negro. So we had to choose African American or black.
But Knight, but if I ask you, and you can choose to say American, right? Pat chose to say American. Wait a minute, what do you mean you gonna be lying? Aren't you an American though? You are American. How is that a lie though?
No, I am an American. I am an American, but I am an African American.
Right.
You don't wait. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna wait for your response. You don't think there's a difference between an American and an African American?
No, Knight, because like you said, I'm an American.
Then why does African Americans exist?
Because that's a further description of who I am. That's almost like saying a man and a woman. I'm a human first, and then I'm a man. We're all humans. I mean, that's like saying that I don't want to identify myself as a man. I just want you to call me a human. You choose to say man because that's a further description, right?
See, I'm old school, man. They got all these rules and shit, and pronouns and all this and all that. I'm an African American male. That's it.
But what I'm saying is that if you wanted to identify yourself as an American, you could do that.
Myself as
listen. I said if you wanted to identify yourself as an American, you could, and it wouldn't be wrong.
This country identifies me as a African American, Stacey.
I'm not concerned with the way the country. I said if you chose to identify yourself as an American, you can, and it wouldn't be wrong.
I can identify myself as Peter Pan if I want to, and it wouldn't be wrong. Like, that's not. I
don't know about that, Night. I don't know about that.
I could walk around this bitch with a tutu on and a Peter Pan hat and say I'm Peter Pan. Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, Peter Pan didn't wear a tutu, so I don't know you got that.
Just because I say it, that doesn't make other people identify me as that.
See, so again, well, you know what though? This goes back, but you listen to this though.
Look. So when you go into an office, right? What do people in that office identify you as? They don't know you from a can of dirt.
American. They see the first thing they see is an American. No, I understand. I got you. I understand that. But that's not. But okay. Now this is what the listener said. He said, "Yes, I agree, Knight. Exactly. Why does African American exist instead of just calling you an American? I identify as being black." See, well, I think that I agree with part of what he's saying. I mean, I think it's the way that you identify yourself. When you asked Pat that question, Pat said, I identify, he called himself an American. And I said, you can do the same thing because you are. You're an American. You know, now, can you then say that there are issues with the fact that we haven't reached full equality or treated as a full-fledged American? Now, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But you can choose, and we can choose to identify ourselves as Americans if we want to. But again, I don't have a problem with us using that additional description because I think that is encompassing our culture, our heritage, and everything else. So I don't have a problem with that. You know, and furthermore, I don't think that negates the fact that I think that we still have more of a struggle to go through. What is that? What does that say? African American. Black equals white. What? African American equals Black American equals white. Who put that up there?
I did.
Explain that mathematical.
There's supposed to be a space in between Black American. It's a typo. But African American equals black person. American equals white person.
In your eyes.
In America's eyes.
In your eyes. Because you're listen to this thing, but then you're part of the problem.
Am I not African?
Yes, you are American. You're an American.
No, am I not an African American?
You're an African American also. Also. All right. Because if that's the case, then so in other words, are you saying that everybody should just get rid of those sir titles? Get rid of those.
I know this going to sound like a racist joke, but it's not.
Don't do it then.
Two guys walk into an office. One is black, one is white. Pick out the American.
Wow. I mean, is that a question?
Pick out the American. Pick out the American. Who's going to pick it? Pick out if me and Pat walk into
an office building, right?
A company to get a job, right?
Right.
And they say,
who's the American?
Who's the American in the room?
Are you asking me how would I respond to that?
Right.
I'm going to assume that both of you are because you're born in this country.
Or who's the African American in the room?
Well, Pat is not black, so I'm going to say you.
Well, how come it's not? Who is the who? All right. Yeah. How come they're not saying who's the white American in the room, or who's the German American in the room? They're not going to do that. My response would be both of us.
and that's what I said. I would assume that in this country that both of you are Americans until somebody spoke up and didn't speak English. Because for all we know, Pat could have been from Slovakia or Ukraine and so my response is I would think that it's both of you until I was proven differently. What'd he say? I feel part.
Huh?
I see your point. Oh, that's why you put his up because he agreed with you.
Yeah, of course I did.
What did the other one say?
I agree with Knight. Good joke. Great example of why calling us African American kind of symbolizes to many that we're not worthy of full citizenship.
See,
right. That still goes back to states. That still goes back to us being 3/5 of a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we are. That's why there's different classifications.
But listen to this tonight.
That's why. That's where, and I'll tell you where it comes from. There used to be. All right, they went from niggas to Negroes, from Negroes to color. And then we had a problem with all those terms. So we was like, since we're here in America, call us African Americans. We're from Africa, so call us African. Okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you that classification. But they didn't say, okay, well, we're not gonna give you a classification. We're just gonna call you American, just like everybody else. That's equality. That's what equality is.
But listen to this tonight. And this is a question. Could it be a matter of perspective? Because maybe you view yourself as 3/5 of a person and not a full American. Whereas I'm saying no. Because listen to this. Let me finish. Because as I said last week, I think that I'm an American just like Pat, and I'm entitled to everything that Pat is entitled to as a German American. But I do recognize that we still have a struggle as Black folk and African Americans that we.
I gotta correct you on one thing. I do not think I am 3/5 of a person.
Okay, I mean,
if anything, I think I'm 5/3 of a person.
Damn.
Yeah,
right. I understand what you're saying. No, I mean, but again, I'm just saying,
on this planet ain't nobody on this planet is better than I am.
No, I get
that. Anybody else.
Listen, well, I said it. I said that in jest, Night. But my point is that, like I said before, I think it's a matter of perspective. I view myself as an American, period, the same way like Pat views himself as an American. And I'm entitled to all of the bells and whistles and everything else that comes along with that citizenship than any other American, because I feel like my ancestors built this country just as much as anybody else's. Now, again, that doesn't.
So you're saying you don't consider yourself an African American?
I do.
So you're both.
Yeah, I said that. I said that we're all Americans, and our further description is African Americans. The same way that we're all humans, but if you want to drill down a little further, I'm a man, but we're all humans. I'm an American, but if you want a further description, I'm an African American. So yeah, I'm an American, just like anybody else, and that's the way that I view myself. So that's what I'm saying. Is maybe it's a matter of.
Stace, I've actually heard you say that you're African American.
I just said I am. I didn't say that I'm not. Did you hear me say that I'm not? I said that I'm an American, and I'm an African American. If you want to drill a little further or be a little more descriptive, I'm an African American, but I'm an American. Like you, you're an American.
Well, you're American first.
I'm an American first, and I'm an African American because I was born in this country. Yes.
Well, I'm just the opposite. I'm an African American first, and then I'm an American until our people have the same equality, equity, just social justice, and everything in this country.
You don't look at yourself. You don't look at yourself as a full-fledged American.
I'm an African American. That's what I am. That's what you are.
Right, but you said you don't until we get full equality.
Right.
You don't view yourself as a full American.
How can I?
But you're born here. You're entitled to the same thing. Aren't you entitled to the same thing?
I am entitled.
Right.
But do we have it?
No, correct. I said that. I said that we still have a long way to go. We still got to struggle. But I view myself as just as entitled as anybody else out there that was born in this country.
I do.
And I feel like my ancestors fought for that. And
yeah,
I'm not
but
that
Stace, you miss it. You're missing the point of this conversation. You can identify yourself as the Easter Bunny. Mm-hmm. That doesn't give you the same. That doesn't give you the same. That doesn't give you the same footing as a white person in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well,
read that statement for
me. Senator Mitch McConnell said black people I can't see that word.
Vote
just as much as Americans. Right. I mean, that's I don't understand. Yeah, that's what he said. But I don't understand
what he just said.
I don't understand what he's trying to get. The point he's making though. Senator McConnell said,
how can you not understand that?
Black people vote just as much as Americans.
Oh, that's that strawberry mansion shit coming out. That's why you don't understand what he's saying.
I mean, but
or some shit.
What point is he trying to make though? I mean, is he saying that?
He said what he said. Black people vote just as much as Americans.
Right, which means that
you don't see the distinction there.
No. Is he saying that? Is he agreeing with me that means that we're just as American as anyone else?
Oh my God, Stace.
Well, what is he saying though? That's what I'm saying.
This is what he's saying right here. This is what he's saying.
They truly didn't consider us to be Americans. Oh, I understand what he's saying. Okay, I get what he's saying now. I get what he's saying. That's that white Zinfandel. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Oh my God.
African Americans. Mitch McConnell said black people vote just as much as Americans. Okay, I said he's drawing the distinction. Okay, I get what you're saying.
They all do.
See, but again, I think but that's the problem though. But that's the problem. I said right, but see, well, okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand. I get it. Again, I view myself as just as much of an American as anyone else, regardless of what.
But like I said, you can view yourself as the Easter Bunny if you want to. Mm-hmm. That don't make it true. That don't make it. That doesn't make it where our government sees you as that. You can say you're the Easter Bunny. You the Easter Bunny every Easter if you want to, but the government ain't going to recognize you as the Easter Bunny.
But it doesn't make them right either, though, because I am entitled to that. I am an American.
I am the Easter Bunny.
I don't know if that noise is what the Easter Bunny makes, but
Remember the Cadbury commercial, the Easter Bunny?
Oh yeah. Damn.
All right, man, let's close up, man. Let's close up.
All right, in closing, what you got, man? All right, I'll go. In closing, y'all. So we coming to another closing of the Real Brothers Live our weekly podcast right here every Sunday at 8 o'clock. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. We hope you enjoyed the dialogue. Once again, please remember that we do make it available for you to join us in on these either via comment or join in with us live. We hope you see yourself in one of these positions or what have you. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget you can also catch us on all of the major platforms other than Spotify still. Spotify, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We just want to, we appreciate you guys joining our digital neighborhood. We have a lot of other things in the works, shows, different things. And we really appreciate all of the support we have been getting. And also, it's so good to come back home to Philadelphia. And I had posted this, earlier this weekend. I feel so good, like no matter where I go, no matter where I live, I'm always going to be Philly. You know what I mean? I love Philly. That's my home. I wouldn't be me if I didn't have the experiences that I had in Philly. So I appreciate everybody who watched. As always, love is the new black. Check out our website, realbroslive.com.
Got the merchandise.
We got merch. We got merch now up there. You can get hats. You can get, all kinds of good stuff. Shirts, everything. And we look forward to keeping you guys entertained and informed.
Nice. Entertained and informed.
Right. For as long as we've been on for a year, and we keeping it pushing, a little bit at a time. We keep growing a little bit at a time, and we appreciate all the support.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you guys, and we see y'all next week.
All right, peace.